Like when I sold drugs that day to that girl, she went and sold them to someone else. I didn't picture the ripple effect. I didn't think like, okay, he might die and I might be charged for that. So just as there's a negative ripple effect, there's a positive ripple effect too, and I want to contribute to that because my whole life I've contributed to negative ripples, and I want to do something different for people.
My name is Timothy Chavo. I'm from Appleton, Wisconsin. I love what I do. So I'm Senior Executive Assistant for Milwaukee County Executive, newly elected Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. With a criminal record, it's at the time, how I felt was it would be one of the hardest things to get into. The amount of people that told me from the beginning, including loved ones, that, what are you doing? Like, this is the last thing you should be doing. You have no guarantee of employment out of this. And if you don't get into politics, like, what did you just waste the last 4 years of your life for?
So I'm Niki and I was born in Guyana, South America. I moved here when I was 5, and life led me down a path that I never would have expected. I was released on December 3rd, 2019, and when I first got out of prison, I was trying to figure out how to best impact the people that I love and care for that are still incarcerated or that may be incarcerated in the future. And I think politically we have no voice, ex-incarcerated individuals, and I was trying to figure out where I would fit in all of that, and I came across Tim. So I reached out to him simply trying to figure out, okay, what was your advice for someone just starting out? What have you learned while you're in politics? What is the fastest, most efficient way to get into this field? The first time we set up the interview, like, everything's on Zoom, right? I had no idea that my camera was off.
No, and then she told me. No, listen, so like I turned my camera off because if someone else's camera is on, that's full range. Like I don't have to have my camera on, okay? And then like halfway through, she's like, "Can you turn your camera on?" And so I do it, and then she's grilling me, and so then I'm like, "What is this? Is this an interrogation? Like, what's going on here?"
I had no idea my camera was off, and I did turn it on towards the end, and it was.
And then what happened then?
He had this look on his face. It was so cute. It was like, I turned it on and it was like his face lit up like, oh, hi. But I didn't know that he had a record, so it was kind of weird when I met him.
She didn't expect the person she was meeting with about this issue to have 4 felonies and have gone through a bunch of the stuff that she was going through at that moment. Overall, on probation holds and time in county jail, I probably gave up 4 years of my life between the years of 18 and 28, and I still had substance abuse problems when I got out, so I was doing 8 years on probation. By that time, I'm at UW-Madison. I'm in my 3rd year, and like I still hadn't gave up pills. I still did Adderall daily, and I still drank heavily, and it all accumulated with I came home for summer break and I got into a car accident a block away from my parents' house and broke my neck. I was drinking. I don't remember it. I woke up in a hospital bed with my mom and my dad on each side of me, handcuffs on, and that was the moment that changed everything for me because for the first time, they weren't mad. But this time, they put me in inpatient treatment. And so at 29 years old, after having 14 years of consistent drug and alcohol abuse, was the first time somebody decided to put me into an inpatient treatment. And I did that, and I went into sober living, and then graduated, and here I am today.
I said that I moved when I was 5 from South America, and when you're that little, the only things that you remember aren't necessarily great things. And I have a handful of memories from South America, and they would haunt my dreams. And I didn't have a family, essentially, so I created my own. And they just happened to be older people that sold drugs. When I was 17, my boyfriend had issues with a rival gang, and I ended up at a party, and I was pregnant, and I smoked a blunt, and it was laced, and I was raped. And I lost my baby, and I had to have major surgery afterwards, and I was put on Percocet. And at 17, the Percocet made me not only feel the physical pain that went away, the emotional pain went away too. And I started selling drugs to support my own habit. Before I sold drugs for nice clothes and shoes and stuff like that, but now I was selling drugs literally for my own sanity. And I ended up catching another case, and they gave me my 1 ATR, and I went to a treatment program. And this is why it's really important that we don't view people as numbers and we view them as individuals. Because when I went to this program, they outsourced me to a sexual abuse counselor, and I told them I wasn't ready. I had only been sober for about 60 days because I had done some jail time waiting to get into the treatment program. And chemically, I had progressed from heroin to methamphetamine at this point. Chemically, my brain was not ready to discuss these things. I was on like 12 different medications. They were trying to control my night terrors, control all these other things. And I told them I wasn't ready. I told them multiple times, and they're like, well, you only have 90 days at this treatment program. So you're gonna do what we need you to do in the time that we need you to do it, or you're going to go to prison. I went to 2 meetings like they asked me to, and I ran after that. And I overdosed 3 times while I was on the run, and every time someone was with me that happened to have Narcan, and they saved me, and every time I hated them for it. I ended up getting in trouble. I sold drugs to someone who sold drugs to someone else. He overdosed. Thankfully, he didn't die. But they sentenced me to 9 years in prison and 4 years extended supervision. And while I was in prison, I learned that you don't have to be bound by the demons from your past. Like, it gave me enough time to find God and to be alone with myself long enough for me to understand myself. And when I started to understand myself, I started to not hate myself. I never felt like I had any self-worth. After the rape, I felt like I was damaged goods, and society reaffirmed that by numbering me and throwing me in a box, right? But my relationship with God taught me that my worth isn't found in the world or other people's opinions of me, right? So I don't know how people do it without God, and I applaud those that can. Being numbered just adds to that, why even try? And I think it fuels that cycle. So the goal is to build personal relationships so people understand that you are more than the number and the expectations and the failures of your past. Right now, I'm doing what I can to raise awareness, trying to close down a prison. That's one of Smart Justice's main campaigns right now. We want to invest in other areas, in treatment and things like that, rather than just incarcerate people, throw them away, don't give them the treatment that they need, and then expect them to come out and live a better life.
Yeah, I have twins. We have twins now that are 5, Jeremiah and Harmony. They changed everything for me. I never wanted kids. I didn't. And when I got out, it was professional driven. Period. That's what got me through. That's what kept me off drugs. Is I have this goal. This is the goal that is going to get me to where. The only way I'm going to stay off drugs is if I continue to follow this professional goal. And that took me to Madison, took me to DC, and then these kids came along. I was looking at life as a professional. Like, I want to be a part of that one big bill. The New Deal, something like that, something that's going to change everybody's lives. And when the kids came into my life, they made everything more personal, as in, like, maybe my destiny in life is not to be a part of that big bill, but it's just to change the lives of these 3 people, these 4 people, you know what I mean? So it took it down to a personal level.
Him and the kids, they've really shown me this whole other aspect to life. For so long, everything was about money. Even when I was selling drugs, it was just about money, and there wasn't love. I didn't feel a sense of fulfillment. And now, like, I have the career path in front of me, and I didn't even realize at the time that I was still missing that. Like, I had healed in many areas, but there was this one area of being able to open up yourself to being loved, and I had shut that down for so long as just a defense mechanism. And now I'm starting to trust again, and I'm starting to see that, just like he said, like, yeah, there is this big picture goal, and I would love to unlock the vote. That's been my thing. I believe that people on probation, if you're working, you're paying taxes, you deserve the right to vote. And that's been my big push, and that's still the big push. But now I realize that there's other dimensions to life too that are just as beautiful and just as meaningful, if not more.